How are you?
I'm alright, as it goes.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
That's good. I'm trying to do stuff. What are you trying to do?
Nothing at the moment. I'm just finished transferring all data from Dale's Wi-Fi Vita over to the 3G Vita that I've got now.
Oh, so that's that Vita you had that time.
Yeah, I borrowed it off Dale because Sony would not confirm a review unit for me. And then it turns out they'd sent one to Dale. And then on the day I reviewed the PS Vita, they were very pleased to tell me they had a review unit for me.
Huh. So they wanted you to have one. They just were bumbling in getting it to you.
I think they shipped them in installments. So they staggered and because they sent one to Dale already, I guess they were like, well, one will do for them. And then when they had the second shipment in, it was like, well, now we'll give one to Jim for long-term review stuff. So I'm glad to get, it was very cool that Dale sent me one. And it's awesome that he got me a second-hand sort of one from Japan. But it was nice to have my own, a brand new one with all, Sony's sort of little benefits and extra sort of things to do, like all the review codes for certain games and stuff. So that's good.
Yeah, that's great. That's what you do this job for, in part. Get
Pretty
that cool
much.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
If you just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Podtoid. I'm your host, Jim Sterling. I've got a special guest. You've just heard him now. But I will just warn you that we do not have Max Scoville this week. We were talking about maybe having Harmser as well, but he's done poorly and he's sick. And, of course, Jonathan Holmes isn't here this week either. I'm not sure if you heard the news, but a couple of days ago he was found dead in his fourth floor suite at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. We don't yet know exactly what the cause of death is. There's no sign of any criminal activity. Yes, he had a history with drugs. Yes, there was controversy in his career. But I was a big fan of his music in the 90s, and I do think that we should sort of look past the troubles of the private life and just celebrate the life that was. So joining me to talk about that is Chris Brown. Now, you've had some controversy yourself, possibly even overshadowing the death of Jonathan Holmes, Chris Brown. Why did you punch her in the face? I think that's what we all want to know.
Punch
Did
you
you get
in the
what
face?
I'm doing, Jonathan Holmes? Did you get it? It's this isn't, for anyone worried, this isn't a joke about a dead celebrity, nor is it a joke about, violence towards women. It is a racist joke, what I'm doing. Because Jonathan Holmes is, kind of not white. So I'm hilariously confusing him with various black celebrities. So just to be clear, this isn't a joke, this isn't a misogynistic joke, this isn't a joke about recent deaths, which would be very tasteless. This is a racist joke. So,
which is good now. I've heard that if you're racist, you're not racist. That's the new way to be not racist, is to be blatantly racist. It's racially sensitive to be racist now.
Is it?
Yeah, that's there's a book about it. I think it's called Blacken It Up or something like that. And Tosh.0 is people are saying he's a great new not racist guy because he's so racist. He's even got a segment on a show called Is It Racist? Where he's racist. But the fact that he's not hiding the fact that he's racist shows that he's actually treating people like individuals and with respect and honesty. Yeah. So he's not racist.
I can kind of see that, because I do on early Podtoids, before sort of the reboot, I got a Scribblenauts hat once. I may have even spoken about this. I got a Scribblenauts hat, and I said, this nigger's got one. In just with my accent, because I find it funny to use that kind of hip-hop speech with this high-pitched English voice. But some people got offended, and I'm like, well, clearly I'm using it in a public, very silly light. The thing about racists is they're not funny. and they don't get jokes, most of them, because they're stupid and they call themselves funny names like Grand Dragon and don't realise how funny that is. So I tend to find that most racist jokes aren't racist per se because they're jokes, and most racists take what they do very seriously. They're committed to their art, is what I'm saying. You know, they're serious hard workers who deserve respect.
I think that racist jokes are at worst like, oh, I don't know, drinking a strong cup of coffee, whereas like real racism is like doing a line of coke. And so some would say that coffee is a gateway drug into real hard crack smoking, but I think some people can just sip the coffee of racism, Jim. Just have a little sip, you
Sip
know.
the coffee of that's a front runner for an episode title already, I think.
Well, wow, that's nice of you to say. Thanks.
That's
I always feel so flattered when you pick my phrases and statements for the title. Yeah.
I plan to flatter you all episode because it is, ladies and gentlemen, February the 14th as we record this.
Oh, you're right. It's Valentine's Day.
It is Vincent Valentine's Day, where it will be a romance episode, even though when you listen to this, it'll either be very late, like too late in the day to mean anything, or the next day. But it is still a romantic episode, and the will they won't they dynamic between myself and Jonathan Holmes could come to a head tonight, and I could come while giving him head tonight. You don't know. It's very much like that old Bruce Willis show, Will They, Won't They, the TV show. I think it was Fifth Element, I'm not sure.
I can't believe you're still talking about moonlighting.
Are you sure it's that, or are you sure it's not Death Becomes Her? I think it is Death Becomes Her, actually. You know, Will They, Won't They with Goldie Hawn.
And someone else pretty in that movie.
And Meryl Streep in it.
That's it. I think she's pretty in a sort of unconventional, handsome way.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in those days. So you've been reviewing a lot of Vita games, Jim. Did that come out today, that Vita?
It's kind of.
Yeah.
They're doing a weird thing.
Yeah? What are they doing?
If you pay them an extra $100, you get it now.
That's what it is. I was trying to remember. I've been trying to pull myself away from all these reviews and crap.
It's like the ambassador thing for the 3DS, but deliberate. like that gave them an idea. You know? They probably saw all the people, like all the weirdos, like adamantly, violently defending that 6-month price cut, as if, well, it's not so bad. I get to play Balloon Fight, and they thought to themselves, we can do that and get away with it because you know how much people on N4G will let us get away with literal murder. So yeah, it's the ambassador program, but on purpose this time.
Well, it's like we were saying last week about the Kickstarter thing. If you say pay what you want, people will pay $1,000, and I bet diehard Sony fans could have been like, "You want a Vita right now? Whatever you want, just pay us as much as you can, and you'll get it." And people, or people would volunteer more money than they'd have to, just because they feel like Team Sony is the way to go, and they'll do anything to make them feel good. I
mean, if I wasn't going to get a unit, I was going to pre-order one for today, mostly just for my job, you know.
Sure.
To make sure I've got it. Kind of glad I don't have to. But it's strange. It is, in a way as well, it kind of helps them promote the 3G version, because no matter what version you get, if you buy it today, you can get whatever version you want. It'll still be the same price.
Okay. So
they're being clever.
Yeah, right. In a way. I mean, the clever move would have been to just have it be cheap, because it's not like they're... I mean, sure, at launch you can get away with a lot more, but I feel like they've got a real uphill battle at this point. The 3DS has really taken off in terms of momentum and just general good press, and the Vita has to really make a strong showing in order to kind of scare people into thinking it's going to be a serious contender, at least until the next price drop. So I hope they have a successful launch. I really hope they can convince people that it's worth buying, because it's hardware I'd like to see supported. There's a lot that could be done with it.
Oh,
yeah.
Also,
yep.
Why haven't they brought out commercials with Enrique Iglesias going "Liva La Vida Loca"?
Whoa! I don't want to yell into the microphone. Whoa! That's such a good idea. That's a freaking brilliant idea. And get who'd you say, Enrique
You got
Iglesias as
so
opposed to Ricky
excited.
Martin? Yeah, I love good
Yeah.
commercial ideas.
Yeah, I think I ruined the idea by confusing Ricky Martin with Enrique Iglesias.
No, that's why it's a good idea.
Ah, okay. Well then, yeah,
Yeah,
we get Enrique Iglesias. Is he the one with a massive mole on his face or not?
I think he is. He's not the one who looks kind of like his skin has been folded too much. Who married what's her name
I think
there?
Ricky Martin is the one who looks like Russell Crowe would look as a baby.
There's one who's got jowls and he's lost his mind, I think. And then there's another one who's horny and skinny, and then
Yeah.
there's the one you said.
Because I was thinking of... No, Ricky Martin also did the she bangs, she bangs.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she gets her pussy out. She bangs, she bangs, she eats dick. I think that's how the song went. It's not me being sexist, it's Ricky Martin.
Well, why is that, Jim? Talk to me about sexism. Why is it sexist to say, she drops her pants and pees all over the floor? But it's not sexist to say, she bangs. We all know what you mean. Either way,
Yeah,
she's being generous with her vagina, regardless of how you look
yeah.
at it. But putting it one
You
way, I
said
was
that.
thinking about
Sorry,
this
I'm,
today. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to reverse the car a second.
sure.
Where did that bit come from about pissing on the floor? Has someone been saying that? Is David Jaffe been up to his old tricks on Twitter again or
I
not?
was just going to talk about Jaffe actually, because I read that he apologized for saying something about enjoying receiving oral sex once or something. He's sorry because that was insensitive.
Well, I actually said if you let your girlfriend beat you at Twisted Metal, she'll suck your dick, which wasn't the wisest of things to say.
Well, I think with guys like Jaffe, he doesn't say. At least I've never heard him say anything that was saying anything generalizing about all women or how to treat women or that all women are good for this or bad for that. But he reminds people of a douchebag sometimes, even though he's not one.
Yeah,
He'll
he's a
say,
lovely guy. I mean,
yeah,
he's a lovely guy, and I don't think he's sexist or hateful or anything.
yeah, I'm sure he's wonderful, but since he's so forthcoming and he doesn't go through like media training or have PR talk for him, he comes out and talks. He'll say things that aren't douchebaggish, but are things that a douchebag might say when they're not being a douchebag. Does that make sense? Like the same guy who would say, "Oh yeah, get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich and bend over while you're at it," might also say, "Oh yeah, you try to get your girlfriend to give you a blowjob while you're playing Twisted Metal." Even though they're different things, they're in the same tone. I think that's his
Yeah.
problem. Take
Well,
the
I think
tone.
another thing about Jaffe is I don't think he quite. He's a lot like me. I mean, that's why we get on. I think we're kind of similar in senses of humor and the way of looking at things. And I tend to sort of say things wrong every now and then, which isn't a good skill for a writer. Well, a good hang up, I guess, for a writer is every now and then I will let excitement or emotion get the better of me, and I mean, this time last year there was a whole controversy with myself where I said to some person, we got into a big argument over Jaffe. Actually, it was Jaffe that fucking started this.
Yeah, what did he say again?
That was when he compared the PSV, which was then known as the NGP, to a vagina. And that got people upset, and they started slagging off Jaffe. And he apologized again, this is why it surprised me about what he did this time. A year later, making the same sort of problems for
Well, he
himself.
just is like that. I mean,
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, I've been in that situation. You can type in Jim Sterling misogynist on Google and find a litany of stuff where people have taken jokes I've said or things I've written and quite happy to still have published on Destructoid. It's not like I've been hiding any secret opinions or anything. I've been making jokes, and some people decided to cherry pick all those jokes and list them and say, "Oh, Jim is an evil fat misogynist." Which was started by me telling a woman that she was a feminazi slut.
right.
Which,
I think I follow that woman on Twitter. She's actually pretty entertaining.
yeah?
Yeah, she's all right. But when
Sorry, could
I
you
got
understand a single? Because the last time I spoke, well, again, which was over a year ago, the last time I saw anything she wrote, it was all in caps and badly spelled, and seemed to come from someone who had been licking toads.
well, the way I saw that is that she and her significant other are pretty angry and took you. You know, you said some stuff not unlike Jaffe that reminded them of actual douchebags, not noticing that you are actually not a douchebag. You are just making some off color comments, as real douchebags would do. I make them too. I make off color comments. I talked about a woman peeing on the floor earlier, but I'm not a legit douchebag, I don't think. And they were angry anyway, and they also, it was kind of like the biggest gun in the West. Is that how you say it? It's not the size of the gun, it's fastest. I'm sorry. Fastest gun in the West. Everyone wants to shoot the guy who is more famous and more popular than them, so then they can be the big gun. So by attacking you, they got a lot of attention for themselves, and I don't think that that was a mistake. And they still do it because they're really bitter that they're not
Yeah.
more
Well, I mean,
famous.
the funny thing is on the on the blogs that do write about me, be they gender specific or not, like any blog that will slag me off is guaranteed more comments and traffic than they usually get.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean there is
Exactly.
an element of that. I just think, like you said, there are people that are very angry, and I
Mm.
think Jaffe's biggest mistake wasn't. I mean, it was silly of him to say it. I mean, I know I learned my lesson on to be a bit more careful with my words after the my incident, and just being generally more interested in sort of feminist and gender issues personally. My wife is sort of gotten very much into feminism support and everything. So I've
Hmm.
learned a lot, and I think it's made me a sort of a more I don't want to say a better person, like some sort of wishy-washy prick, but it's allowed me to appreciate other perspectives a lot more, and realize that as a sort of very privileged white male, there's a lot I don't get.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
Jaffe's thing as well. Is he doesn't get it, and I don't mean that in an insulting way, because there's still a lot I don't get, and I don't think I ever will get, because it's impossible for me to be in that position.
Mm.
And I do think though, but when you do find someone who doesn't get it, jumping down their throats and attacking them isn't the best way of dealing with it. I know that people deal with people that don't get it like every single day of the week, and it's incredibly, must be incredibly frustrating
Right.
to
Well,
to do that.
attacking you didn't. They didn't get it either. It's not like you didn't get it and they did, and there was a good guy and a bad guy. They were awfully cruel to you for no reason and didn't address you like an adult and say, this was insulting because this is how it felt when you said that, and educated you on it and expressed how they felt. They just like they started drawing pictures of you and stuff like that.
There were
Like
there
they
were some
went
funny
berserk.
pictures. I mean, that was even before I said that the feminazi slut thing that really got people upset. That was even before that. It was like all started just because I made a joke with Jaffe about apologising on whatever, and they started drawing pictures of me and Jaffe having sex, and this woman started using all sorts of insults at me, calling me a closet homosexual, and there's nothing closeted about it, so that was wrong. Insinuating I live in a basement in my mother's house and masturbate into a fleshlight, the usual things. And it became this competition of who can be more offensive to the other, which I apparently won, considering the fallout. So, tick a little victory box for me. But, yeah, I mean, I got a lot of abuse myself, and obviously a lot of emails from people asking Destructoid to fire me
Oh
and
yeah.
what have you, which upset me at the time. And obviously seeing accusations of misogyny and everything, this is Jaffe's been sort of upset by it recently and has been trying to defend himself. But I realise that's the wrong thing to do,
Mm.
is to try and defend yourself, because some people are, as you said earlier, very angry people, and that's what they do. They want someone to let that anger out onto, and
Right.
it's going to happen to someone. If it's you, throw up your hands and say, well, I'm grateful to be notable enough to be someone's target of rage, and move on, because they're always going to be angry, and some people are always going to think you're a dick no matter
Mm.
what you do.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, there's no point getting angry at them, because then that's just a fucking vicious circle of fury. There's
Mm-hmm.
no point trying to reason with someone who's that entrenched in their own anger, and that's what sort of fuels them. And there's no point doing anything really apart from just getting on with your own sort of business. And I think that was the biggest problem Jaffe had, was like it's a week later and he's still talking about it, and I think he needs to sort of not talk about it and just get on.
Yeah, it's
Twisted Hat.
touching that he wants to talk about it. He cares. He feels badly that he insulted people, but it's not a good strategy, and it's not getting the point across that I think he probably wants to. That's my guess. I heard a thing on the radio actually about booing in general, and this is the internet people wanting to kill you. It's kind of the new booing, I think. In the old days, they were a little more tactful and just would make sounds, but now they actually say, "You will die tonight by my knife." And the thing about booing, they said they did a study on it, and people only boo acts, performances or writers or whatever that they expected to be good and that they actually think are good. So they'll only give them feedback that they suck if they think that they could have done better and expect them to do better and believe that they are better. And one guy who dealt with that was a baseball player who was getting booed all the time because he was just sucking lately. So he changed his jersey to say "boo" on the back. And everyone would go "boo," and he'd cheer like, "Yeah, that's my name," and people loved him after that. So to grab it and embrace it and make it yours is the way to do it. That's what I would do if I were Jaffe.
I can totally
I'd
speak
make it
to
mine
that.
somehow. Yeah,
I can totally speak to that. I mean,
you can.
that's why the Jimquisition got successful on The Escapist. Because when I first started it, I was still trying to do it in a sort of genuine way, at least sort of my personality. And everyone decided I was a douchebag and that I deserved to fail. So I just ran with that and became this oblivious douchebag who acted like he thought he was brilliant and ended every episode by saying, "Thank God for me." And it became so sort of self-aware that people started to really dig it. And now, obviously, that's become a thing. People have gotten with the ego character and are now, I'll regularly get people sending me messages saying, "Thank God for you," and what have you. So that's good. Just roll with it. Just let it. I mean, that's what I've done with every controversy I've ever had. I think I've always turned it into something to entertain the people that do like me, and do like what we do at Destructoid. Just turn it into something fun. That way, the people can still have their anger, and everyone else can just have a laugh. And I think that's always the best way to do things.
Absolutely. The more you're showing that you understand where people are coming from and that you're making an effort to connect with them, even if that means kind of absorbing their insults and insulting yourself in the process in a way that's, lighthearted and self-depreciating, it seems to work for people. Worked for Conan O'Brien when he got fired. He turned that into like the best comedy tour of all time.
Yeah.
The I Got Fired tour. I like that Conan O'Brien, all right. He's all right. Conan O'Brien, he's all right.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Right. Wrapping a placenta around your dick. Now, is that paedophilia or not?
That's coming back. I thought you killed.
Max,
it's because
it
really is. It was a surprise to me that
we're
I heard
bringing
that.
pedos back. Oh, 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 oh. We're bringing pedos back. Oh, 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 oh. We're bringing babies. Oh, oh, ah.
Wow. Whoa, I'm just seeing...
What happens if you masturbate over the Love Is comics?
Those are the awful ones, right?
The little naked children. That's legal. That is child pornography, Love Is.
Yeah, I think you're right. That is child pornography. Whoa, I think I accidentally uploaded something to the Podtoid YouTube channel by accident.
Is it paedophilia or not? Did you upload something from your dirty hard drive?
I don't know what just happened. Maybe Conrad did it. I'm so confused about life. A guy likes you, Jim, and his name is also Jim. Do you know about this guy? He likes you.
That's just confusing. His new name is Laundry.
Instead of
Jim, yeah. I've changed his name to Laundry. Because I get confused otherwise.
That makes sense. I could have called him Jay or James.
No, I know. It can't be Jay or James. I know people called that.
Oh, do you know anyone named Laundry? No.
I don't know anyone called Laundry.
That's a really nice name. It's better than Larry overall.
Yeah, you see, I only said it because Zyliak, one of the Podtoid community members, just tweeted that doing laundry sucks.
He tweets a lot, that Zyliak.
Uh,
So
Subject.
laundry, Jim. He listens to Podtoid, I think. He's a PR guy. He sends out review codes to games. Sometimes no one wants to play those games. He sent out a code for Zombie Attack, which I recently reviewed. Took me forever to get that review finished. It was just so hard to prioritize it. And I gave it a 3 because it's not too good. It's a little bit good if you consider it to be a parody of games, like a Spinal Tap for games, but I don't think they meant it to be that. I think it just legitimately is bad. And even Spinal Tap, those songs were good. This is like if the songs in Spinal Tap were also terrible. But I got some glimmer of joy out of it at times, so I gave it a 3 instead of a 2 or a 1. Anyway, he said, I think that sales for the game are probably going to go up now that you've reviewed it, even though it's a terrible score. He found that with WiiWare games, as long as they get reviewed by someone, the sales go up. And it doesn't even matter what the score is. And that he wanted me to talk to you about it because he thinks you're so great. And when you talked about Uncharted getting an 8, and how that like blew people's minds and that freaked people out, but it wasn't that big of a deal because people are still going to buy it as long as they know it's out there and it's getting talked about. He was comparing Zombie Attack to Uncharted 3, I just realized. Not sure if that's the most accurate.
Oh, he's fucking brilliant for that. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
he likes
audacity I respect.
But do you find that are publishers and developers just grateful that you reviewed their game at all and don't care about the score so much? I found that refreshing that he was taking that tact.
I think I think developers obviously take it personally because that's their baby that they've been pouring all their life into.
Mm-hmm.
Publishers, at least, the marketing side of it, their job is mostly brand awareness. And I think a lot of them subscribe to the idea that it doesn't matter whether what's being said is good or bad most of the time, so long as stuff's being said. And I do think sometimes it can help. I mean, it's certainly not why I do it, but people still talk about Assassin's Creed 2, which I gave a 4.5 to, I think. Even though I think 2 or 3 Assassin's Creed games have come out since then, but people still talk about that one. Because that was the one with the score that blew everyone's minds. And I think in the long run, it probably did more for that game's profile than had I just given it any other score along with everybody else, and it would have been forgotten about by now. It's certainly not why I do it. I don't want to raise the profile of games that I think are shit and have given me a terrible time. But it does at least, it should stop everyone getting mad, It's like, oh, he tried to destroy this game. It's like, well, I mean, I didn't. But the upshot is I probably did good for it. So, I think I don't know. It's always hard to tell, like, what a negative or a positive review does for a game. The only time I've ever seen the results of a review of mine is with Deadly Premonition.
Right. Yeah.
Just judging by what Ignition told me and by what Swery65 has told me, my review, like, legit directly helped it get attention and get out there and sell copies, which I'm immensely proud of doing. Like, my job isn't to sell games, but I am a gamer, more, like, first and foremost, above a reviewer. So obviously, if there's something I believe strongly in, a game I believe strongly in, and a game I want people to play, I will take immense pride in getting that game played and helping to get people excited about it. So,
I when I think about it, I come to the conclusion that as long as you write about a game and speak to it having a genuine effect on you, people are going to want to try it themselves after that. Because I wrote about Urban Champion 3D Classics. You remember that, Jim? I wrote about that. You'd expect a game of that caliber, I gave it a 5, completely average score, or below average, some would say. You'd expect it to get like 10 comments, and that would be it. But people were really talking about that review and saying they wanted to buy it afterwards, even though I did not suggest that they buy it in the review, because I did have a pretty interesting experience in my own brain thanks to Urban Champion. It's more due to the fact that my brain is weird than the game, but people were like,
"Your brain is fucking broken for enjoying Urban Champion."
I didn't love it, but I did. Yeah, I like punching that guy in the stomach, then the face, then the stomach, maybe depending. Then maybe back to the face, and
Jesus
then the
H.
pot falls on his head, and then here comes the cops. I enjoy it, and the same with Zombie Attack. People are reading the review and saying, "Well, it doesn't seem like a good game, but you really got a lot of thought and feeling out of it," which I did, even though it's poorly made. A poorly made thing like a cold splash of water on the balls will make you feel something. It's not something you want to feel necessarily, but it'll wake you up. That's how Zombie Attack was, and people are now saying, "Oh, I'm going to buy Zombie Attack now," even though you gave it a 3. So when you talked about Deadly Premonition, I'm guessing of course, giving it a high score helped, but you really got a genuine experience out of that game. I mean, that was a legit time you had.
Oh yeah, I mean, it is still possibly the most fun I've ever had with a game ever. It's
You were on fire when that came out. You were emailing us like, check this video out. Check this out. Can you believe this happened? Look at his face. Pause it on, minute 12 seconds in and just look at that face when York did his troll face at the table with the grandma.
Yeah. I mean, when I was playing it, I was giddy, waiting for my wife to come back from work every day to tell her the new thing I saw. Oh, Agent Morgan just did a rape anecdote at the diner and laughed about the man he caught attacking women, and he laughed and everyone was confused, and that was a joke.
Yeah, it's a pretty special game. I hope Swery comes up with something just as good, but that was like a perfect storm of, half serious, half joking, project getting canceled and restarted so many times that he probably didn't even know what planet he was on by the time it got done. And
the main problem is once someone knows what they've done, they run the risk of trying to do it again and then creating a very forced, cynical. And I hope that's not what Swery does. I hope not. I think he's better than that because I do wonder if he quite knows. Like what it is that at least Westerners found so fascinating about it. And I do hope in a way that he's still a bit oblivious to it,
I think that he is, yeah.
And I don't say that to be to insult him. I just hope he doesn't quite. And I do that with any creator. I hope that any creator doesn't quite get what made their product so successful and resonate with so many people, just to keep what they do in the future natural, just so they don't keep going after it. And I say this as someone who obviously produces original content as well for The Escapist and for Destructoid and that. Sometimes I don't quite see what people get out of my stuff.
Right, which is
I
good.
hope is a good thing, because then I'm not trying to just duplicate that one thing, and I can just keep doing, whatever comes to mind.
If you naturally say something really funny and then someone tells you to say it again the exact same way, it's never going to be as good. And so in a way, it's good to not know why you were funny, so you won't try to repeat it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's like, because children do that a lot, they'll say a funny word or say something in a funny way, and all the adults will laugh, and the kid will then say it 30 times.
Right.
Because they think doing
less funny.
Yeah, because they think doing the exact same thing will get the exact same results. Sony and the PlayStation Move. And they obviously, don't always be spontaneous and always be natural. And don't try and copy something else or try and chase something cynically. Otherwise, because you'll never get there. EA, Battlefield 3.
Wow.
So that was good, wasn't it? That was...
Yeah, you're keeping this game related in a hot way.
Damn right.
That was hot. Yeah, I was loving that. That was good stuff. So yeah, Laundry's going to be excited that we talked about him on the show. His big theory is that we audience people are willing to buy low-rated games just because they're real cheap and they don't care. I don't know if that's true though, because PSN games and Xbox Live Arcade games are pretty cheap too. But I get the sense that a low score will affect them a lot harder than Wii games. I mean, Wii Play got 4.5 average or something, and that sold 20 million copies. Mario Kart Wii sold pretty It sold 25 million, I think, actually, and that it got 7s and 8s. I've given some games some low scores, but if they're on the Wii, people will still buy it. Like No More Heroes 1, I think that's got a Metacritic average of like a 6.5 or 7, and yet it sold better than No More Heroes 2, which has a Metacritic score of I think 8 or 9. I just don't know if Wii people care about review scores as much. Have you found that to be true at all, Jim?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, considering how people went apeshit over Skyward Sword, I think at least the quote-unquote hardcore gamers that are invested in the Wii give a real definite shit. Possibly
Yeah.
more than others, funnily enough. Because you came under fire from some people, and the GameSpot review of Skyward Sword especially came under fire because it was like a 7.5.
Yeah.
I had to deal with the whole Reddit fallout for the Mario Kart 7 review. So those people
Oh,
really
yeah.
do care. But I don't know, WiiWare is so unimportant, and I don't mean to insult Laundry, who I'm already calling a bunch of dirty pants and socks, just by virtue of his name, but I don't mean to insult him. It's just it's such a low stake thing for
Hmm.
gamers that I
Sure.
don't think people really mind what you review on there and what the scores are. And it is a good place to just go and get some weird shit, you know? WiiWare is good for that, like just finding weird, odd shite.
It
Uh,
was. It
which is,
was.
yeah.
There are not as many weird games have come out, but there was a little while. Remember, I think I recommended Tomena Center to you and Muscle March and Yumi and the Cubes. There's a bunch of weird games for a bit,
It's a
and
shame
then
they didn't
it's.
keep that up, because that could have been the WiiWare's like identity.
Hmm.
That weird, like slightly above mobile gaming, not too far above,
Yeah.
um, and still like more daring than XBLA and PSN, but just still kind of cheap and grotty, but in a kind of good way, because it's just it's low stake and doesn't demand a lot of money, and certainly doesn't demand a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's the thing. I think that's where WiiWare wins out. It's because the games that go on WiiWare aren't too complex and they don't demand a lot from the player.
Hmm.
In the same way that bad movies don't. And I say this as a huge fan of bad movies. I get immense joy from going into a grocery store and finding like 8 horror movies on one DVD for $5 and taking them home and you know, sifting through the unwatchable ones to find the one movie on there that's so bad it becomes enjoyable. And you can't do that so much with games because of that personal investment and effort you put into a game. A bad game can be a lot more frustrating because obviously there's lost progress and stuff which doesn't affect you in a movie.
Sure.
You know, if I'm watching an Ed Furlong classic like Brain Scan or Pet Cemetery 2, I don't risk wasting time by dying and having to go back and rewatching a bit, you know? So it doesn't quite work with games, that whole so bad it's good, except for a few instances. And WiiWare, because of the simplicity of the games on there, that can get away with it a lot more. So you get something like, what was it? The
Muscle March or Tomena Center?
Tomana Sana, like, that's not a good game, but
But it is pretty fun, though.
it's so undemanding
Yeah.
that it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And it's
Muscle March, too. I don't know if you ever got around to playing
I never
that.
got. Was that on the English?
Yeah, it came out. It's like $5. I suggest you buy it tonight just for the soundtrack. The soundtrack is legit good if you like,
I might
you
have
know.
confused it with Captain Rainbow. I always assumed it had
Oh,
like
yeah,
not
yeah.
come out along with Captain Rainbow and all the other good-looking Wii games that Nintendo doesn't want to bring out.
They're getting a little better. I'm hoping so with the release of Rhythm Heaven Fever, which is in a lot of ways as weird as anything Nintendo's ever done. There is that level where
You reviewed
two.
that last night.
Oh, I did. Oh, yeah, you're right. That finally
Yeah,
got that
I
review
say
done.
reviewed. I think you give Charles Dickens a run for his fucking money.
Not always. My zombie attack review is a nice, succinct 10 or 12 paragraphs or something. But when I couldn't stop thinking about that game. And when I have that many thoughts about it, I just let them all out. And, if I had a couple of days, who knows? Maybe I would have turned one into a review and one into a feature
How
or
many
something.
paragraphs was it?
No, 20, I think.
You sounded like Beastman then.
I felt
Yeah!
like.
How many paragraphs did you review?
I love Skeletor a lot. Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of long. I didn't realize it was that long at all. It just all came out, and then I proofread it, and then I was like, okay, it's done. And then after it was actually posted, I
Well,
counted the paragraphs. It's kind of a lot.
I think 12 was for my Deus Ex Human Revolution one, but I've never gone beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot. Each paragraph was different. It's not like I wrote the same content in 3 different paragraphs. I don't think. Tony Ponce, who proofread it with me, would probably have told me. So there's a lot to say. It's a deep deconstruction, or I should say, analysis of a deconstruction of video games. Rhythm Heaven Fever could be the most important game of the year.
Fuck off.
I think it's hilarious when anyone ever says anything is important, be it
Yeah,
a video game or a
especially
movie.
especially in games though.
Yeah, yeah,
I
it's
mean, it's
it's
when they talk about being taken seriously. Okay, video games must be taken seriously, and video game journalism must be taken seriously. Now I will write about Muscle March.
it's the most important game on WiiWare.
Yeah.
Some would say, yeah, it defines the console.
It is important
Say.
that Roger Ebert takes us seriously, even though we will be dead tomorrow and it won't matter.
It's sad how badly people want to be taken seriously, isn't it? But speaking of that, I was
Yeah.
at Rhythm
Let me
Heaven.
just say, for anyone who wants to be taken seriously,
Uh-huh.
when you die, you will shit and piss yourself. And that's going to happen to all of us. We will die in our own shit and piss and maybe a bit of jizz. So no matter how serious you want the world to take you, no matter how fucking respected you become in life, they're going to cart you out of your house with shit and piss in your pants. So don't worry about it too much.
Yeah, I don't even know. Should I bother? My statement from before seems completely unnecessary now
And there's
because,
no point doing anything, John. There's no point doing this podcast because when we die, we'll be covered in piss and shit, mate.
yeah, that's how we'll be
Yeah.
known as
I mean,
the
at E3, you're going
history.
to be covered in piss and shit for different reasons.
Why is that?
Because I'm going to piss and shit on you, John. In a love way.
Some
I don't
people
know
do
if you've
that.
noticed this, Jonathan Holmes, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I am in romantic love with you on this special Valentine's day.
That's nice. That's I've fallen in love with many people before. Sometimes
And
they love me back. Some
I will finger your poo
just my poo, not my butt with poo in it. Just like
and
you're gonna
drink your yoo-hoo.
yoo-hoo meaning like a mix of water
Milk.
and poo or something.
No, milkshake is
Oh,
the
just a
brand of milkshake of
that,
yoo-hoo.
that I just assumed it was a euphemism.
It is now.
For
Bit of your poo and my spunk.
I wonder how bad poo tastes. It just seems like it would taste bad, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never eaten it.
Sometimes when I do poo stuff, it smells like roast beef.
Me too, or spaghetti.
Yeah,
The
so
spaghetti
maybe it's
farts.
good.
Maybe it tastes like roast beef and spaghetti.
Maybe it's a savoury dish.
People drink their own urine and they swear by it.
There's
Say it's good.
some say it's good. Yeah, I forget the actress who does it, but there's an actress who does it, and she says it's great for her. If any of our listeners eat or have just even by accident just had shit in their mouths, I know at the old flat I used to live at, there was a guy called Whiffin who I've said before drew on himself with a stick of his own shit. So I'm assuming he must have eaten some at some point. So yeah, if there are any Podtoid listeners who have eaten shit or do eat shit, just let us know if it tastes savoury.
Yeah, just let us know. That's
Yeah.
all we want to know. Absolutely. Divine ate shit, but she died. Can't ask her about that.
Probably from eating shit.
Yeah, no, it was in her youth. You probably saw that movie, Pink Flamingos.
No.
No, well, you might like it. It's about you know what it's about already?
No.
It is about a competition between people. They are competing for who are the most filthy and disgusting human beings on the planet, and they keep trying to up the ante. There's a great scene where a woman, I don't know her name in the movie, but the actress's name is Edith Massey. She's one of my favorites. Her teeth are like very, very far apart from each other and very different lengths. And she's got big boobs, but just like a big beach ball of a body. And she's sitting in a crib going, "Oh, all I want is my eggs. My eggs. Where's my Eggman? Where's my Eggman?" And then a guy comes in and is like, "Hi, would you like some eggs?" She's like, "Oh, put them in my mouth. Put the eggs in my mouth." It goes on for like 15 minutes like that.
Huh.
You should probably see it.
I've seen Fantasia.
It's similar to that.
Is it similar to Fantasia or not?
Well, they're both trips into the subconscious mind of the artist. The difference, of course, is Fantasia goes into the beautiful crevices of the mind of a classical music composer, and Pink Flamingos goes into the mind of a deranged poop-eating maniac.
Huh.
They're both good, though.
What film should I get on my PS Vita? I was given like codes and stuff
Yeah?
to go on the PS Vita to use the PS Store, like a credit note or whatever, to try out the video player, buy a movie from the Sony movie thing. I'm thinking of getting Krull.
Have you seen Krull?
Many, many years ago.
I saw it in theaters when it first came out when I was in elementary school, and at the time it was the kind of movie you don't stop talking about for the rest of the year. I've seen it since then, and there's a couple of good parts. There's a spider. It's all right. You'll never want to watch it.
Is
ever.
Is that the one again where the guy turns into a tiger
I think it
near
is.
the end?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that happens.
The
That is good.
Clockwork Orange, the Clockwork Owl is Jason and the Argonauts, right?
No, that's Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans. And the one where Tim Curry says boy is Legend.
Yeah, that's good. I always think that's Congo, because he's also in that. Have you seen Congo with Tim Curry?
Congo, is that the one with the monkeys or not?
It's the one with the gorillas who can do sign language, but they have little devices on their bodies that make their sign language get translated into English.
Meet Amy.
Yeah, that's it.
Meet Amy.
You know Congo.
Video game.
And it's got Ernie Hudson in it from Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It's his breakout role in Congo, and Tim Curry, whose accent changes every 30 to 45 seconds.
I've got a fun thing to do.
Do it.
All right. Let's go through the sci-fi and adventure fantasy section, because they're the best films. They're where you're going to get all the fun ones.
Of your mind, or of the PS
on the
Vita?
PS Vita.
In real time? Are you going to do this?
I'm not going to do all of them. There's loads, but I'm just going to pick out. I'm just going to scroll through and pick out some.
Do it.
See if they sort of spark your interest.
It's going to be great.
Two-headed shark attack.
That doesn't even kind of compute.
Two-headed. I'm interested by this one. The poster has. I mean, it just looks like two shark heads coming out the water. Presumably they're attached. It's two heads and one fin in the middle, so you know it is a two-headed shark. Carmen Electra's in it. When a semester at sea ship is sunk by a mutated two-headed shark, the survivors escape to a deserted atoll. But when it starts flooding, the co-eds are no longer safe from the double jaws of the monster. This is brilliant.
Yeah. Is that for purchase, or is that just for,
It's all for purchase. They're all $10.
What? Wow.
They're all $10. Don't you?
That's sad. That's sad for them. Because no one's going to buy that for $10.
No. But they might buy Three Ninjas Kickback.
Oh, yeah! Is that with Hulk Hogan? Terry Hulk Hogan? Isn't that?
I don't know. AT&T's 3G is shit. Won't bring it. No.
Oh, that's too bad.
There's a character called Tum Tum in it, though.
Have you ever seen Shaolin Popeye?
Shaolin No.
You should watch Shaolin Popeye. It is, what if Three Ninjas was good? That is Shaolin Popeye. That's kind of mean, I guess, to Three Ninjas fans out there. But two little kids. One is like the athletic one, and one's like the bumbling, cute one. And they're probably like 4 or 5, and they're incredible at martial arts. And they beat up like statues come to life, and they just kick the crap out of them. And then a devil just comes out of the ground, and they pound its face in, and lightning forms into a human body, and they beat that up. It's great. Shaolin Popeye 1 and 2. You should rent those.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, check them out.
Anaconda's Trail of Blood. The hit follow-up to Anaconda.
That's the sequel, or is that the third in the
sequel.
series?
I think it's the sequel to the sequel.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Attack of the Griffin.
I think I saw that.
They're not lying. It's a fucking griffin.
I think I saw that. I think it takes place largely in a museum because they couldn't do many outdoor shots, and they're really upset at the griffin, and it just kills some defenseless people off and on for an hour and a half. Yeah, it's all right.
Again, right? Remember, these are all $9.99.
Wow.
A classic from 1958 at 66 minutes. Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Is that the one with Lily Tomlin? Because that's good.
Alison Hayes, Yvette Vickers.
Oh, no, that's the Incredible Shrinking Woman. My mistake. Yeah. I can't imagine that that's good. Is she... there's a video game about a gigantic woman, though. It's by the creators of... Oh, what's that game where you're the president? Metal Wolf Chaos, I think it is.
Oh, the cutscenes for that are fucking brilliant.
Yeah, that's an important game. That's.
Oh my god, game. I think I found the best one.
What's that?
For $9.99, it's simply called Bats. And it stars Luke Diamond Phillips.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The night, I'm going to read this out. The night has wings, and fear has taken flight. In the dark, there is nothing more frightening than being attacked by flying killers, especially genetically mutated and omnivorous swarms of bats. Dr. Sheila Casper, Dina Mayer, a zoologist specializing in the study of bats, is summoned by the terrorized townfolk of Gallup, Texas, where unexplained bat attacks have caused several grisly deaths. Sheila and her assistant Jimmy, Leon, team up with the local sheriff, Emmett Kinsey, and that's Lou Diamond Phillips, to try and find a way to stop their bats. This is the whole plot. They discover that a scientist, Bob Gunton, commissioned by the military, has tampered with nature and infected the bats with a genetic virus, causing the usually harmless mammals to become vicious killers. Can Sheila and Jimmy save the town before the military, typical, makes things worse? So that's good for 10 bucks, isn't it?
Typical. I've seen most of Bats. It is like Aliens, except just remove any potential threat. Just like picture if the aliens were just large cats, and everyone's got a gun, and they're just like, "There's a cat," and they just shoot it.
They've got all of the Darkman films.
I like those. I don't know if you've seen The Return of Durant and Die Darkman Die. I think the third one is.
Actually, I talked extensively about The Return of Durant on an old Podtoid.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because I love what's his face. Drake.
Dr. Giggles. Yeah.
It's not Larry Drake, is it? That's someone else.
I can't remember. I just
call
him Dr. Giggles.
Yeah. But I'm a huge fan of his. Almost exclusively thanks to Darkman 2: The Return of Durant.
It's not bad. Yeah. Now you're talking about the actor who plays Durant, right?
Oh yeah, I like him a lot. He's a great villain in that. He only usually gets bit parts and other stuff, but I think he's a great sort of weird faced actor.
Yeah. He's got an expressive face. He's the kind of character actor that usually has a career.
There's a film called Bone Eater.
Sounds good.
Yeah, they've got the Butterfly Effect 3 Revelations and no Butterfly Effect 1 and 2.
The first Butterfly Effect was
they've got the Cell 2 and no Cell.
The Cell, that was Jennifer Lopez, right?
Yeah, but they've only got the Cell 2.
Do they have Cube 1 and 2 and 3?
I don't know. I haven't got to the CU.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean.
I've never heard of any of the people in Cell 2. This isn't fucking Jennifer Lopez.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't
Children
interested.
of Dune.
Oh, I think that's with Susan Sarandon.
Circuitry Man.
Oh, that sounds even less like a real movie than Lawnmower Man does.
They've got all... Basically, the PS Vita movie channel is full of all the films you can find in Walmart for $2, but they all cost $9.99.
Well, I feel a fear for them. I want to laugh at the Vita.
There's a Willem Dafoe film in here.
Oh, we haven't talked about him in a little while.
Cirque du Freak, the vampire's assistant.
Everyone tells me I have to see Cirque du Freak because Willem Dafoe and John C. Reilly know that it's shit and have a great time while showing you that they know that it's shit.
I might get that one then.
I love both those guys. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Class of Nukem High.
Oh, I've seen that like 20 times.
Is it good? Is it worth $9.99 or not?
I rented it for $2 and had a tough time staying awake. There's a talking belly button in it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's all right. Cyborg 2, gotta see that. Jack Palance
Cyborg
and
3, Machines Never Sleep.
No, you can skip that one, I think. But Cyborg 2, Jack Palance and Angelina Jolie.
Nice. They got all the Dark Mans or Dark Men.
Those are all good. All the Dark Men are good Dark Men.
They got The Day the Earth Stood Still, both the Keanu Reevesy and the original. Again, both $10.
Ooh, that's a
this
that's
movie
a lot.
is ridiculous.
Yeah. It makes me afraid for the Vita. Yeah. I want to not be afraid for the Vita.
They've got Doom and the unrated Doom. Two separate things.
Huh. That's David Lynch, right?
Yeah. They've got so many Dragon films. Dragon Crusaders, that's got 1 star. Dragon Storm, Dragon Wars, Dragon Ball Evolution, Dragon Heart, Dragon Slayer. So if you want Dragon movies, the Vita's your one-stop shop. Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh, that's a movie.
They got Earth Girls Are Easy.
I enjoy that movie. That's Marlon Wayans. No, Damon Wayans. No, the other one. Who's Major Payne again? Come on, Jim, you know this.
What?
Who's Major Payne? There's the Wayans. There's Keenan Ivory.
Keenan and Kel or not?
It's Jim Carrey, Gina Davis, and that Wayans. I think it's Damon. The bald one. The one who was in that movie with the cars and the kissing.
I don't know.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
I think I've picked a triple whammy here.
You certainly have.
How's this for a holy trinity of films, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine an evening where you start with Eight-Legged Freaks, move on to Evan Almighty, and round out the evening with Evil Bong 3, The Wrath of Bong.
Evil Bong 3?
Yeah. I've got Evil Bong again on one of those 8 horror movies for $5 DVDs. Like I've not watched it yet, but I've got it in the house. But they haven't got that film on here. They've just got Evil Bong 3: The Wrath of Bong.
And Sony's a reputable film distribution company and producing company. They've got the cream of the crop to choose from.
And yet they filled their video channel with sci-fi originals and shitty things that you see for $2 from Lionsgate.
It is a clear misreading of the audience. I get the sense that they're like, oh, video game console. Just throw some crap movies on there because they like games that have crap storylines, But gamers, I hate to use that term, but people who are smart. I don't even have to say gamers. Just any
Virus.
Smart. Virus is good. Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Sutherland, right?
Yeah, they got Virus. But I have a
Virus.
hard time picking between Virus and Eyeborgs.
Not cyborgs, Eyeborgs?
Eyeborgs, it's in the near future as fear of terrorism escalates, so that's satirical, isn't it? Privacy is a luxury of the past. Now, in people's homes, on the streets, in their workplace, everyone is constantly being watched by mobile robotic cameras known as eyeborgs. Brilliant.
You can't... Just because we like video games doesn't mean that we're going to pay $10 for a terrible, terrible cinematic experience. We'll just download it, right? Or we'll watch it on YouTube. I'm sure half these movies are just for free on YouTube.
They got the original Flash Gordon. Again,
right.
$10. 10 friggin' bucks.
Oh, that's hard. I mean, if it's a hard copy, I would buy Flash Gordon on Blu-ray or on DVD or something so I could let my friends borrow it. But when you download something, there's much less you can do with it. It's more like it's not really like owning it to me. It's
Okay,
like
I found the best one. Sorry, I'll leave it at this
Go ahead.
one because I think we're boring everybody.
Go all night. No, enjoy it.
Gamebox 1.0, and it's got like it looks like something like out of Twisted Metal on the cover, like a what they've tried to modify a PS3 dual analog remote. Why am I saying weird words? A DualShock 3, but they've like modified it enough to not get sued. And it's like all metal, and there's like big glowy, fiery, and dirty, desperate hand clutching it, so you know it's serious business. And the film's called Gamebox 1.0.
Wow.
Charlie Nash is an expert video game tester whose life has become unbearable after the tragic shooting of his girlfriend, Kate. Finding no comfort in his friends or in his job, Charlie loses himself in video games. After receiving a mysterious test game in the mail, he immerses himself in its amazingly realistic 3D fantasy universe. However, Charlie soon learns this virtual world is totally real as he's plunged into a perilous life and death battle against a game from which there is little chance of escape or survival. All one sentence. Fucking hell.
Wow. That just sounds exactly like the Bishop of Battle. Have you seen that? The Bishop of Battle?
No? What's that?
I will tell you about it briefly. The Bishop of Battle, as I recall, is one part of a larger film that is a series of short horror stories, much in the style of Creepshow and the Twilight Zone movie. The Bishop of Battle stars Emilio Estevez, famous for his roles in Free Jack and that other movie. What's that one with the cars? Repo Man. That's it. Those are the only two movies I know about starring Emilio Estevez. And he's obsessed with video games. And this is back in 1983, so it's the arcade days. He goes down to the arcade, he plays a bunch of games, he's really good. But there's this one game called The Bishop of Battle, about bishops. And he's trying to battle them, and he keeps losing until he goes completely insane and just becomes obsessed with it and goes into the arcade late at night. And then everything in the game comes to life, and he has to battle them. And they're bishops.
Oh.
Check it out, man. It's famous. It's also got Night of the Rat. I just looked it up. You should watch Nightmares Tonight. See if that's on that store.
Well, it seems to have every bad film and not as many good ones. Fucking Repo the Genetic Opera's on there, The Globe.
Oh.
Just all these, mostly Lionsgate sort of trashy films.
That is weird, right? I mean, why would Sony want to give their PSN store such a bad reputation? It's the same with WiiWare, but WiiWare Nintendo was like, we don't care. We don't really want to put any games on this. We're creating WiiWare for third parties. They put Dr. Mario and I think one other game on there. Nintendo's basically done nothing. Yeah, Pokemon Rumble and Dr. Mario. They don't care about WiiWare at all. Yeah. They did that for third parties, and third parties took the advantage to just put all their worst games on there, and as a result, the store has a terrible reputation. And Sony's going to do the same thing with the PSN store?
I feel I've got to be fair. I wasn't just reading those in order. Like, that's all they've got. I mean, they do, in between the ones I was picking, you've got your Pan's Labyrinth, you've got RoboCop, you've got Krull, obviously, you've got all of the Land Before Time films, like all million of them. You've got Highlander Endgame. See, I can't help, I'm trying to point out good ones, and I can't help still saying bad ones. That's actually how much I love bad films. Me too. No, I mean, they've got high-quality stuff on there. It's actually impressive. I was looking through their TV, and, I could get the latest season of Always Sunny in Philadelphia if I want, or,
Was that $10, or how do you watch that?
That's I think that's $1.99 an episode.
That's not bad.
It isn't too terrible. The only thing that annoys me is that I didn't see any option to buy a full season in one go. I need to buy them because they've got all the Dragon Ball Zs, and I used to love watching Dragon Ball Z, and I think nostalgia might have me buy a season. But not if I'm buying every episode. Have you any idea how long those seasons are? They fucking stretch a 5-minute conversation over 3 episodes.
Yeah, there will be one fight that lasts 24 episodes in
Yeah.
that
Oh,
show.
there'll be one fucking punch that lasts 5 episodes. I will summon a spirit bomb! Oh, no, don't do that! I'm gonna do it! Oh, don't do that! I'm going to do it! It's going to do it! Kakarot! Kakarot! I'm a baby now because of reasons.
That was nothing
I'm
like Dragon Ball Z, but I wish it was.
cannon. I'm Piccolo! Look at my green face!
That must hurt. You must hurt now. Do you hurt now?
I don't think about it till later.
Some of the best compliments I've gotten.
For Podtoid related injuries.
Yeah, you've put yourself through a lot on this show, vocally and otherwise. Some of the best compliments I've gotten about being bald is that I look a little bit like Vegeta sometimes, like in the right lighting.
Don't think Piccolo. Do you mean the green?
No, my widow's peak is like, yeah, if I have my hair a little bit longer and it sticks up a tiny bit, people will say it's Vegeta-esque.
Head completely bald and paint yourself green and be Piccolo forever.
There's a lot of ideas people have about stuff I should do. I might do it at PAX. I'm gonna have to shave a lot of hair off my head and body for most of it.
Please walk around at E3 dressed like a Bobo.
If I grew a mustache, I could be like a slightly fat Bobo, which is better than no Bobo, I suppose. That would be a lot of fun. I've got his kind of sunken eyes, like his looking like he's angry and needs to sleep, even though he's totally well rested.
Just walk around naked. Just walk around completely naked. Like, tuck your little dinker sort of between your legs and tell everyone you're Clayface from Batman.
That's probably who I most closely resemble. This is it's true. It's true. My face does look like it's made out of like wet Fig Newtons and clay. It's true. The texture of my body is awful. I hate it. Yeah, what can you do though? We all get older, I guess. So people still want to have sex with me. There's a lot of homosexual men who have made it clear that they would choose me to have sex with.
You're an attractive man.
Thanks so much, Jim. I don't feel it. I don't feel that way. But trying to.
I'll make you feel pretty.
It is Valentine's Day after all.
I will make you feel like a woman.
I like when people are in love with me and when I have sex with me. It's very flattering. Some people are put off by it, I found out. If you tell someone like, "Oh, I love you so much," and you've never really talked to them before, they can be a little put off. But not me. People can just be in love with me.
Jonathan Holmes, I'm a sneaky little thief, creeping into your room and touching your dirty beef.
Suddenly menacing and angry at me.
Now I'm on the lam for stealing your country hams. Oh, Jonathan, take me to the delicatessen of orgasms.
Again, menacing and venomous while wanting to make love to me in some way.
It's a special song. I was in the bath the other day naked. I actually forgot, like, almost the entire song. That's why it was so weird then. But I was totally, like, bollock naked, sitting in the bath, getting my fat all soapy and singing songs about and to you.
Oh, wow. That's really flattering.
It's quite good. It's not that flattering, because today I was also in the bath, splashing water around, pretending to be a priest. Going, blessed holy water. I bless your anus.
An Irish priest.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Going to bless me foreskin now. With me holy water. And I did that for literally 15 minutes, while convincing myself I'm too busy in the day to return phone calls and emails. I'll stay in the bath an extra 15 minutes to do that.
So many people would just want to exist in your mind for a little while. They wouldn't even have to do anything. They could just be like in being John Malkovich, just a bystander would be enough for them. They'd be so happy. So Max, well, why aren't Max and Hamza on the show? Are they coming on next week? I wanted to talk to those
Hamza's
guys.
sick, apparently.
Oh, he said that to me once before. We had this big build up. It was when Black Ops came out, and I was co-hosting the Destructoid show, and we were trying out roundtables. And at the last minute, Hamza was suddenly, quote, sick, unquotes. And instead of having Hamza on, who's like a first-person shooter expert, we had Venom on, sidekick, I guess you could say, or partner to John Carnage. And Venom hadn't really, I don't know what, he suddenly just started doing a southern accent and pretending to be Sling Blade. And this was a show that was like my livelihood. Like, if the show succeeded, I would eat, and if it didn't, I would not eat. And then he just suddenly started doing a Sling Blade impersonation. So, long story short, when Hamza is sick, bad things sometimes happen.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's really sick.
It annoys me. He has to be on it.
He chickened out, I think. Hamza.
He was like, "Can I be on Podtoid?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Oh, I'm sick, actually."
He chickened out, dude. How sick? Have you ever been sick and done a Podtoid? Okay.
I was like a few weeks ago, wasn't I?
Yeah. Remember that time I was like vomiting on Podtoid?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Like, vomit for me. I'm like, not a problem. So you can do a podcast and be sick. Hamza, if you're listening to the show, we're on to you, and you got to be on next week. Faux show. No matter if you're nervous or not, you got to tough it out. You got to push through it. You're going to be great. He's a very entertaining guy, that Hamza. You've talked to him.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. I mean, I want him on more regularly.
Yeah, me too.
Because he was on one episode of Podtoid in the long ago, and offended Sumit so much that I believe we didn't put the episode out, or it was ruled that Hamza was to never appear on Podtoid again. So naturally, I think he's brilliant and want him on all the time.
Yeah, he is good. He is a master of hurting people's feelings, even though he doesn't mean anything bad by it. And then he's always so surprised that people's feelings are hurt afterwards. It's pretty special. I don't know anyone else quite like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to try and get him on in a semi-regular capacity, I think. At least for a few episodes, just to see how he does. Because I know he... for a guy as outspoken as he is and outgoing with the community, he can be... he needs to ease into things.
Sure.
In the same way that I need to ease you into... what was it? Oh, yeah. Anal sex with my penis in your a-hole. In your puckered, milky, red, raw, rectal, yawning, gasp pipes.
Wow. Man, buttholes, huh? I've seen them around. I've seen that. I've never wanted to, get in there with one. I've seen a prolapsed one. I don't know if I told you about that.
No?
No, prolapsed anus.
Tell us about the prolapsed anus, Jonathan.
I'm not getting to get into details as to how I saw it.
Was it veiny or not?
No, not so veiny. It's like an elephant trunk that's really... It's like a cartoon elephant trunk. You know how when you're a little kid and you don't know how to draw a trunk yet, you'll just draw a pipe coming...
Did it look like a trunk off a heifer lump from Winnie the Pooh or not?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, and no poop came out, but it was just like just a long tube anus coming right out of the butt cheeks there.
How did they do that? Was it one of those mentals you talked to?
I'm not getting any details, but I'm not. No, it's not anyone in the psychiatric hospital. I will tell you that I'm not involved with anuses at the job. They have nurses.
I've seen my brother. I've seen a video of a close-up of my brother's hemorrhoidal anus.
Oh yeah,
shitting. He apparently, him and his friend, both completely heterosexual and in steady relationships and everything, decided they'd film each other's anuses while shit came out of them. And for some reason, my good friend Louis, who is also very good friend of my brother's, decided I should see that. He figured I ought to look at that. So that was Ugh.
It's not something I want to see. I can see why someone would want to post it on the internet because they so badly want to have an effect on others, and that's sure to get a response from the audience. But
it should
not
definitely. I
really.
mean, he was from what I remember, he was squatting like with both feet on the toilet seat in a kind of frogman position. And Louis, hello Louis, by the way. I know he listens. That's the best bit. Decided to situate himself underneath my brother's Goochel area with the camera pointed up, so they could see the anus dilate before poo came out of it like a fish coming out of a little cave in the rock on the seabed. Like an eel.
A friend of mine's dad, he actually played in a band that featured Biz Markie at times. So I'm only 2 degrees of separation from Biz Markie. Anyway, he would drive cross country with his son, who's my friend, and when his son had to poo, he wouldn't stop for him. He'd be like, "Nope, hold it," and then he'd go, "Push." Push, and then he'd slow. You should try doing this to your son. Pucker your lips together real tight, and then slowly stick your tongue out, like like it's like a poo, like softly and gently and beautifully. Finally,
This is veering strongly into is it pedophilia or not territory now.
It was to torture his son and make his son want to poo more. Nothing sexual about it. Just like you want to poo.
Welcome to the episode of Podtoid where Jim and Jonathan get their friends and family arrested.
I didn't name any names. I thought it was pretty funny. I've done it to not to kids, but to other people who had to poo.
Don't try and make your children shit themselves. Just as a word of warning, you could end up in serious trouble with the law.
It is kind of abusive, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, if you force them to shit themselves, spank them until they poo, which would get everyone in trouble. Who wins that round? And
then you take the poo on a YouTube video and shoot it to teach them a lesson about telling things on Facebook. It will definitely be abuse then.
Yeah, indeed. Was there any other hot gaming news, or should we move on to questions?
No, I mean, Dale and I have just been mostly focused on the Vita. It's hard to concentrate on anything else.
No. I talked about Heaven Fever already, right? That's a good game.
Yeah, we talked about Heaven Fever. My Twisted Metal review went up today. That's a
I haven't had a chance to see that. That turned out pretty well?
The multiplayer is very good.
Yeah.
I think I gave enough clues last week to indicate that the campaign is dreadful. Mm-hmm. Just utterly painful to play.
Oh, that's too bad.
It's the racing. I don't play Twisted Metal for racing any more than I'd play Forza 3 for combat.
Right.
It just doesn't... the levels aren't designed for racing. They're designed as big arenas for combat, so the racetracks are really vague and stupid. Mm-hmm. And the physics, they're not racing physics. They're physics designed to skid around and turn on a dime and slide about shooting missiles. And when you get clipped a little bit, you fly in the air. And that doesn't work in a race situation, especially when the AI is designed to all focus on you. Mm-hmm. And enemy racers will sacrifice their own place in the race just to fuck you. They'll veer, even if they're in the lead, they'll veer out the way and smash you into a wall and let everyone else go third, past it. And there's one that can pick up other racers with a magnet and smash them into walls or do whatever. And in a race, it'll pick up the other player and then just drive off the ledge into a chasm. Even though it's supposed to be winning a race.
Well, people love Mario Kart, and that is almost universally thought to be an unfair game, and that when you're doing well, everyone just tries to kill you, and you will die. I don't know why, but people still love it. Mario Kart.
At least Mario Kart waits until you're doing well. Twisted Metal doesn't care where you are. You can be in last place, and the driver directly ahead of you will be shooting missiles backwards at you.
That's terrible, really.
Rather than get stuff ahead, like in front of it, they don't shoot ahead. They just fire back at you, no matter what place you are in at the race. It's fucking ridiculous. So yeah, it's not. It's not. It does that as well in the actual Destruction Derby style things. Like the AI has a preference for you, but it's not quite so bad as in the races where it's a fucking race. And yeah, it's one of those games where like whoever ends up in first place can end up so far ahead. If it's an AI, never if it's you, but if it's an AI, it can get so far ahead that there can be 80% of the race left, and you won't catch up to it.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it's one of those games where you never see the end of a race as much as you restart the race and just keep having to restart. And it's ridiculous. I said in the review, I didn't get to the very end of the campaign. I got to 88%. And stopped because the penultimate race was so bad, like just so fucking bad. And I'm not alone in it. Other reviewers have corroborated with me. It's like that level is fucking dreadful. And it's a shame because I always liked. I'm a huge fan of Twisted Metal 2, especially, and I loved the campaigns. They had like 20 odd drivers, each with their own storylines, almost like a fighting game. Like they each had their own unique endings.
Oh, sure, yeah. It was a very Mortal Kombat-esque, I thought. Same sort of tenor to it. And
But there's none of that in this Twisted Metal. There's one campaign which is like sequentially spread across just 4 characters, and it really blows because I used to like the campaigns of Twisted Metal just for those weird sort of Twilight Zone-esque ironic endings that each of the characters had. Like they each get a wish, and the guy like grants the wish, but it's not quite what they wanted, you know. Oh, you're an old man and you want the body of a 20-year-old? Here you go. Oh, but I didn't change your head. I'm ironic. And I used to love that because it was just so, it was as camp as that, like the main baddie of it. But yeah, that's not really in it. And it's a shame because like all the cutscenes are live action and they all look like those bad Lionsgate horror movies I described on the PS Store. But that's like the appeal of it. Like that makes it entertaining. But it's just not worth seeing those little movies because the gameplay is just so shit. But the online is really good. I just wish they should have just scrapped the campaign altogether and just concentrated purely on online and make that even better. Because as it is, it's just like, it's a good game, not brilliant. It's cool. But they could have been fantastic if they'd have just forgot the campaign altogether, which they were going to do. Originally, it was going to be a PSN game, just focused on multiplayer. And I think that that shows a little bit in the final product.
That's it. That's too bad. Sounds like there's a way to purchase that game that makes it worth it, but
it's a good game. I mean, if you just focus on the multiplayer, it needs to be online. Like it's got split screen, it's got LAN, and when it sticks to what it knows, when it's just focused on proper Twisted Metal, maybe with a little twist in the game mode, it's great stuff. But then a lot of the single player stuff is just pants.
Just pants. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
It's got a nice ring to it. Yeah. Just pants. Is that a British thing?
I think so, because pants is underwear in Britain. It's not trousers.
There's a game in Britain called Mr. Pants you probably know about. Because you're English. I'm Mr. Pants. Yeah? You seen it?
No.
He's got underwear on.
What?
He's got underwear on, Jim.
Oh, no. Oh, no. What?
Yeah, it's a real nightmare. Let's do those questions. I want to do them.
I got these AR cards.
You got AR cards?
For the Vita.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what they do.
Are they for specific Vita games? AR?
They don't have pictures on them like the 3DS ones. It's just weird black symbols. I don't know what... I could summon Kratos and I wouldn't know. This is no good to me. I don't know what Pandora's box I'll be opening.
I want you to open it now. Now I'm excited. I wanted to hear questions. I have to go do crap, unfortunately. Do you have any crap to do? I have to write things.
Yeah, I've got to get to post office and mail the other Vita back to Dale.
I have to write these dumb posts and stuff. Did our friend Toby Carlson just edited the Rhythm Heaven launch party video that I did. It's the first time he's edited an event video for me. It's very nice of him. So I've got to try to promote that so people can see Toby's fine editing work. I've got to promote Sup Holmes, I guess. Oh yeah, I'm doing Sup Holmes. I forgot to tell people. This Sunday we'll have the guys who made the Bit Trip games, and they've also worked on other games for LucasArts and Capcom and stuff, talking about recreating a genre or a series, like how every once in a while Tomb Raider tries to reinvent itself, or Final Fantasy does, and stuff like that, and what works and what doesn't. So that'll be a thing, and you should be on Sup Home sometime, Jim. That'll be fun for me.
Yeah, my weekends are very difficult, but yeah, if I've got a time to do it, I would love to drop in and say hello. Sounds like the show's doing really well.
I can't tell. I have not paid attention to whether anyone's watching it or not. I almost don't want to know.
I know the feedback's good. People who are watching are enjoying. I think that's the important bit.
Yeah. A couple of people said, "Oh, it's boring. Why don't you run around and scream more often?" And I don't blame them. That's what they like that I've done before, and that's nice that they like anything I've done. But other people have
when
said,
you're doing a remote live stream from your own sort of office or house, it's like it's difficult to do. I mean, I did a live stream once on that thing just to test. I think I was doing an early test, and it is boring.
Well, people. On a comparative scale, they're saying I'm less boring, which is really nice. They're saying I keep the conversation going, and things are funny enough and surprising enough that they don't hate it so far.
Well, I think it depends on just what people are going there for. If they already know you and they like the Jonathan Holmes personality, I think they'll find it quite entertaining. But if they go on and they either don't quite know who you are, or they don't quite see what it is that makes you as entertaining as you most certainly are, then I don't, they might find it boring because it is, for the most part, you sat there talking, which is what this is. I think it's for people that enjoy podcasts like this. They'll enjoy Sub Holmes.
Yeah, it's just kind of a live video podcast, and I do not expect to make any new friends via it, but that have been on have been great, and I'm flattered that they've been willing to do it. We had Shannon Gregory and Tommy Reffinis, Tommy being the co-creator of Super Meat Boy. They were on last Sunday. It was really good. I got to post highlights from their episode. They talked about love and Skyrim. Yeah, they talked about a lot of good stuff. They were horny and funny, which is what people like, I think, right? Horny comedy.
That's what people want, yeah.
Yeah, people like that put together. I don't expect it to light the world ablaze, this Sup Holmes, but Charlie Rose didn't expect to light the world ablaze either, and look at him now. He's practically king of the world. And that woman with the nose there, what's her name? She's got blonde hair. She talks
Barbara
funny.
Streisand?
Close. Barbara Walters. That's it. Talks like Elmer Fudd. I could be the next Barbara Walters. She's boring. People love her. Just got to keep doing stuff, and then people will like you. It's like perseverance over quality, I think, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bow. Those are fun. Yo. You hear they're in talks to make a new Beetlejuice?
What?
Yep, they're in talks.
God.
The screenwriter of Dark Shadows and some other movie that Tim Burton did is all excited, saying it's happening, Beetlejuice. It's either going to be a sequel or a prequel. Michael Keaton is freaking out. He can't wait to do it. He's been wanting to make Beetlejuice too.
They're actually going to get Michael Keaton.
He wants to do it bad, and he's wanted to do it more than anyone else. Like, ever since Beetlejuice came out, he was like, that's the best movie I've ever made. I want to just keep making Beetlejuice movies. I want Beetlejuice to be like James Bond, just like a new
Michael
movie.
Keaton.
Yeah, me too.
And that's a guy who, he's been in some, relatively big name films. He's had some. I mean, the man was fucking Batman at one point.
Sure.
And he's not above taking the piss out of himself. And he was one of the funny aspects of that other guy's film, the Will Ferrell movie. He's great in that. And I love that he just loves Beetlejuice that much.
He does.
You'd think that would be the movie that any other actor would be sick of talking about
Or embarrassed.
or
Like
embarrassed. Yeah,
I don't know if have you seen The Burbs starring Tom Hanks?
I have not. No.
You should watch that tonight for sure. But Tom Hanks is completely embarrassed about it. If you ask him about The Burbs, he's like, "That's a dark time in my career. I don't want to talk about him." And it is by far one of his best movies, easily, easily. Tom Hanks is married to Princess Leia. He lives in the same neighborhood as Corey Feldman, and I think a guy who's like in the background in Gremlins. And there's a creepy family in the neighborhood. They're all killers. You got to see it, The Burbs. It's really good. It's could be his finest film, and that's kind of the Beetlejuice to Tom Hanks, as Beetlejuice is to Michael Keaton. It just goes to show how much better of a person Michael Keaton is than Tom
Oh,
Hanks.
absolutely.
He's a great man.
He's better than us all. But when I first heard, when you said Beetlejuice, I got cynical. Oh god, another fucking remake. But if Keaton's on board to do like
He's on board. Yeah.
a real Beetlejuice film rather than a fucking remake, I would be all up in that business.
Me too. Me too. There's a lot that could be done with the particular mythology that Tim Burton came up with the sandworms and how weird the afterlife is in that world. I look to Beetlejuice when I talk about how Tim Burton used to be good and have original ideas instead of just remaking other movies or adapting TV shows to film. There was a time when he was this blazing mind of creativity coming up with stuff that had never been put on screen before. So I'd love to see him at least try to revisit that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk. Oh yeah, well, before we start the question, Submit. People want Submit back on the show, but
those idiots.
But only to make fun of him? They're like, have Submit back on, but like call him names and make him cry. Like, what? That's a thing that people want?
People like that in podcasts.
Huh, so that's what they like, huh?
Yeah, one of my favourite podcasts was the Ray Peacock podcast, which I've talked about on other sort of things before. Him and a comedian called Ed Gamble had a guy called Raji James on, who was also a little brown boy like Samir. He used to be in a British soap opera called EastEnders, and he was an out-of-work actor, and they just ripped the shit out of him for an hour. And people like that.
Huh, interesting. Good to know. I'm not knowledgeable about what makes podcasts good and bad. It's kind of like what you were saying about knowing what makes you funny, and you're almost better off not knowing it because you might try to copy it. I don't want to know too much about what makes podcasts, or else I might try to copy other people's style. So I kind of stay away from it.
Yeah.
But it's good to know. People like to see other people be hurt. And does the little brown boy on the Peacock and Gamble podcast, does he like cry and stuff and feel bad, or does he just laugh it off? Like, oh yeah.
It depends what they do to him. Or what they did to him. They don't do that podcast anymore. But it was fun. The only trouble is on that show, Raji would not talk for half an hour about Mass Effect. Which is a problem we have with Submit.
Well, Submit, his vision for a podcast seems to be, when we
were talking, he was typing in Skype chat, just going, video games. As if he doesn't know what this show is now.
Well, that's the interesting thing about Submit. One of the things I love about him is that his passion gets the best of him sometimes, and as it does with me, and I think you too, but in a different way, and like a cold, calculated, like, this is what the show must be, and I will make it happen. Video games, I will read the news that the people want to know, even though they could just read it on the front page of Destructoid right now. And maybe that's what people want out of their podcasts. Like I said, I don't listen to them, so I don't know. But he has a particular vision for what a video game podcast could be, and god damn it, he was going to push right through and make it happen, no matter how many times we brought up anuses and started to do stupid voices.
His vision conflicts with my grand utopia.
Well, that conflict was part of the fun. A lot of people think that we have a conflict on the show, and
he is the Jesus to my Pharisee. Except obviously Submit is a lot whiter
than Jesus.
Yep.
I know a little bit about. He must have been tan, Jesus, because he was from the desert, right?
Dude, he was like dark black. He was from Africa.
Oh, he's dark black.
He was an African American.
He was American, Jesus. Don't dispute that part. Absolutely, Jesus was from America.
Yeah.
Should people believe that, you know?
Oh yeah. This is
Yeah,
a good satire of religion.
yeah, yeah,
He was
yeah.
black in the Madonna video where he fucked her up the ass.
And he bled from his eyes, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. I started to write a song called Deadly Cyber Wolf. Do you think that'll be good? I don't know. I just started to
Deadly
write it.
Cyberwolf. Is that like
Yeah.
it sounds like a villain in a Power Rangers episode.
Yeah, I don't know if it's even going to make that much sense. It's just like, Deadly Cyber Wolf, feel him screaming. He's got blood in his eyes. Like that sort of thing. Like real metal, you know?
Wow.
Will that be good?
That's everything. That's literally the sum total of the universe right there.
Deadly Cyber Wolf. It's based on, me and my friends used to play the old heavy metal game on the Dreamcast. It was kind of an arena shooter, kind of like a poor man's Unreal Tournament. And I think Judas Priest did one of the songs, and it sounded like they were talking about a cyber wolf, but they weren't. So we took the ball and ran with it. And it suddenly came back to me yesterday. I started to write a song because I'm going to re-release the Talking to Women About Video Games album again, Jim. I know, I should stop, right?
Yeah.
Gonna re-release it. Some guy, a
You're like
wonderful
George
guy.
Lucas with that fucking thing.
I kind of am, but it's not my fault. People keep saying, "Oh, I meant to do a song and I just remembered." Or this gentleman by the name of Chainsaw. That's not his real name, but that's his stage name. He did the music for the Explosion Man games and the Maw. He works for Twisted Pixel. He suddenly was like, "I love that song. I never told you," and I just did my own version of it, and it's really good. And I don't want to just release it out without any support, so I want to release some other songs along with it. So people pay attention. If you want to do another song, Jim, feel free. Just record yourself in the bathtub. It's a song. That's a track now. You're just doing that Irish priest thing, you know. I'd put that to a beat and consider it done. It's rap music. It's true. It's true.
Anything, you put a beat to anything and it's rap music.
That's what I love about rap music. It's so easy to make. Sorry, rappers, but yeah, I just told you that.
And if you get good enough at it, you can get away with punching women in the face and putting them in the hospital.
Yeah, people have really forgiven that rapper man, haven't they?
And they haven't forgiven Milli Vanilli. That's what annoys me.
And one of them died.
I think he killed himself because of it.
Oh, I think
one of them got really depressed and his life went to shit, and then he killed himself.
Yeah, the more handsome one. There's the
and
pretty
Chris
one.
Brown gets to sing at the fucking Grammys.
Yeah, they shouldn't do
and
that.
Everyone lip syncs now. Justin Bieber just like publicly and happily does what Milli Vanilli, just because Milli Vanilli were ahead of the curve. Mm-hmm. They are like Jesus in that regard.
They are long-haired and brown, and they've got great abs.
And they lip-synced just like Jesus.
Just like Jesus did, yeah.
And they had fucking social pariahs, and Chris Brown wins an award for himself all nice and lovely up as a nice comeback.
He won an award? He won I didn't know.
Award.
I heard he hopped around like Hubert on the Grammys. I didn't see it myself, but I heard it was very video game-ish when he was jumping around on a platform or something.
People still haven't forgiven Michael Richards for saying rude racism on a stage. And it's like, I don't condone racism, but if I had to choose who to look after my fucking stepson, Michael Richards or Chris Brown, I'm going to go with the racist.
I don't even know if that, maybe I'm not educated enough, but is it racist to just say a word? Don't you have to...
I think it was, I don't think he's a racist. I think he was just trying to be as offensive as possible, which again, like I did on that, what I was saying earlier, like he won. He won the let's be offensive game. So, he succeeded. Let's not begrudge the man a success story.
Absolutely not.
So, yeah, but people still haven't forgiven him just because he said some words on a stage angrily. Whereas Chris Brown punched a woman in the face so bad she had to go to hospital, and he wins an award and gets to sing at the Grammys. And I believe a spokesman for the Grammys or a publicist or someone, said the real tragedy of the Chris Brown thing was that we, i.e. the music industry, were the real victims in all this. Because Chris Brown couldn't do singing songs for a bit, we are really the victims of Rihanna's bruised face.
Wow. Yeah. Human race. It's a strange one. Cats don't do stuff like that, you know? Cats just eat the food, they poop, they cuddle around, they might like bat a piece of paper around. They don't come out and say stuff like that. They make a hell of a lot more sense, the cats of our world. Human race, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you ready to jump into the questions, Jim? I don't want to be pushy.
Yeah, let's do it.
Is that all right? All
Yeah.
right. All
Like I said, I
right.
mean, I'm already running late. I've got to go to the post office, get Dale's Vita out of the way. Goat Nuke, actually, a couple of people have asked this, because it is Valentine's Day, and I've gotten quite a few, why are you guys podcasting instead of being with your wives?
Oh, right.
As if, because it is Valentine's Day, like, everything in the world is cancelled. So we can... It's Valentine's Day. I'm giving my wife a treat by not being near her. Because, like, time spent away from me is a treat. No, like,
When you're married, it's different.
Yeah, my wife's at work. Because she
So
has
am
a
I.
job, and I have a job, and Jonathan Holmes' wife has a job, and he has a job.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, this is recorded on office time, so it's not like I'm putting off plans. Speaking of which, I mean, just speaking personally, I don't recognise Valentine's Day, and neither does my wife. It's a pointless thing, we find. It's just a very forced day, and you know, if I want to do something special for my wife, I'll do it at any other time, rather than an obligated, designated day to do it, you know? Like, that just
Absolutely.
it doesn't seem genuine. I've seen people who, like, feel like they have to do something, otherwise their girlfriend will be mad at them. And it's like, that's no different from someone saying they're moral because they're afraid of going to hell. You know, that's not morality, that's fear of being caught and being punished. And that's not what love is. Love is doing surprises and stuff, not fucking, oh, we have to go out on this special day because someone told us on the telly to do it for us.
That's right. As
So,
long as you go over it with each other that, yeah, this doesn't mean anything that I'm not doing something for you on Valentine's Day. Like, my wife got me a little book that I found in the refrigerator this morning that says, I like you. And it's got an alligator having tea with a woman with a green hat on. So now I have to go buy her something because she's telling me the language I speak is we buy each other things on Valentine's this year. So I'm going to go do that, show her that I like her. If she
yeah.
hadn't gotten me the book, would I have been okay with just getting a surprise from her later? Yeah. Do I want to buy something today? No. But I'll do it because I got to show her how I feel because that's the pressure we're on. What I feel bad about for Valentine's Day is those people who think, well, you know, I was single yesterday, but who cares? But single on Valentine's Day?
Oh,
Dude, time to kill myself.
oh,
Like, no,
God. Oh.
don't kill yourself. Just enjoy your life.
Especially in this fucking internet age where fucking little man babies go whining on thread. I bet the man, because I didn't check the man baby threads I haven't checked it for a while. I bet they got some great posts up today.
Yeah,
I
good
feel
point.
sad not checking it out today now, but just those kinds of people, and especially where Facebook's kind of become Reddit too, so a lot of that shit's kind of getting into my feeds, and just this bit of fucking, I hate romance today on Valentine's Day. It's like, fuck off, you're only doing that because you're bitter because you were nice to a girl and you didn't get the vagina you think you're owed. Fucking hate the nice guys that fucking, oh, I'm so nice to a girl, but she doesn't have sex with me. That's fucking creeper talk, you dick.
You can be nice to people all the time. I'm nice to people. People are nice to me. We don't just immediately drop trow and start banging our
Damn right.
bottoms together. Is that how you have sex? You just bang your bottoms
I think
together?
you bang your butts together. Sometimes, like, each of you poke a little bit of poo out, and then that is like your bums. Your bums are doing like French kissing, like deep kisses.
There's actually a movie I want to recommend to you. I can't remember what it's called though, so I can't. But it's got a really good part.
Is it butt poo kiss?
But Pookies?
Butt poo kiss.
But Poo Kiss. No, that's a brilliant name for a movie though. There is a movie where a little boy gets on the internet and he's like, it is pedophilia what happens.
Oh dear.
Pretty much it's accidental pedophilia. He gets on the internet, he's in the chat room, and a woman's like, let's do this, let's do hot cyber sex. She doesn't know it's a 5-year-old, and she's like, I want to do this and this to you. And he's like, what the hell does that mean? He doesn't understand it. So then he does a little emoticon of, I think it's like a line and then the three and then a line. And somehow he does a reverse three. And she's like, what's that? And she's like, that's our butts pooing together. She's like, oh my God, that's the next level of kink. He's like, yeah, butt poop transfer. It's so good. And then they meet the park, and she's mortified to find out it's a 5-year-old and feels really guilty about it. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Dr. Dude says, how do you guys feel about the RTS genre? We never seem to discuss it, and he'd like to know what we think.
Real-time strategy genre?
Yeah, real-time strat.
For me, it's often the worst of both worlds. I like the calm, calculated feeling of a turn-based strategy game, and I like the freedom of a real-time game. And if you try to mix them together, I end up getting less of what I like from both genres. That said, if it's really well done, I can get behind it. I always liked Herzog's V on the Genesis. Do you remember that one? Herzog's V? No, it's good. You are a plane that flies around. You kill guys, kind of like a top-down shoot 'em up. But at the same time, you're commanding troops to attack for you, and you can turn into a robot and like defend your base and stuff. It's good. If you can come at it from a fresh angle and not have it just be about like commanding troops and walking around in a standard way, if you can give me something new, I'll get into it. But oftentimes, it's not my favorite genre. How about you, Jim? What do you think?
I used to like playing them casually. I used to play Command and Conquer Red Alert a lot.
Okay.
Used to like that. These days, I don't have the brain for it. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very good at forethought. I don't like to think ahead. I live in the moment, man. I like to just live in the moment and just see where the wind takes me. I bought a van and I like to cruise down the desert and just see where life just lets me go.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not expect you to say that.
I'll walk. Some days I'll just walk down the sidewalk and I won't have any shoes or socks on. Man, just feeling that concrete under my toes, man.
Wow.
Uh,
Yeah, so throw an orgasm. Never hurts.
It never hurts.
No, it always makes it a little better.
Just me and nature, man. Just wearing hempen pants.
It's getting better. You sound like legit American.
Smoking grass and just using my MacBook. Just me in the real world. Yeah. Watching episodes of Street Sharks on Netflix. Just nature, man. I don't know what I'm talking about. I used to be able to think more than one thing at once. But I can't do it anymore. I can't deal with multiple troops and multiple things. I'll go in a game of fucking Dawn of War online and just get slaughtered within seconds. I'm not so bad in team games. If it's a team game and I've got a designated role on a battlefield, I can do that. But actual commanding an entire army, I can't do it. My brain just doesn't work that way. So I don't really play them anymore. I'm just totally out of my depth with them. And that's why I'll give those reviews to anyone who isn't me.
Yeah, it has changed too. On a competitive level, I can't imagine ever putting up with the amount of self-improvement I'd have to do in order to get anywhere in that kind of game.
Yeah.
Can't do it, man.
Dark Cloud wants to know what I didn't like about Mass Effect. I've talked about this a lot before, but I mean, I haven't played the second game because I always wanted to play. I try not to play sequels if I haven't played the original. I just hated the first one. It was just horrible. I hated the structure of it. I hated the way it was set up and having to play that shitty little car and drive around.
You might like the second one then. I mean, all that they changed all that stuff.
I mean, the combat as well really put me off. It's like, it tried to be a methodical shooter, but all the enemies were fast-paced melee attackers, and it just didn't seem to gel right. I found the combat very contradictory, and the story was okay, but I've never been absorbed enough in Mass Effect's universe to really give a shit about anything that's going on.
I'm inspired. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's the short. I could go into more detail, but I don't want to spend too long on questions.
Well, it makes me quickly want to talk about something in general, which is the old, how can you not like that thing that happens with people? Like when you like something, people often think, well, if I like it, that means it's good. And if it's good, that means everyone, everywhere must like it. But that is not the case. Like with the Nintendo Wii, for instance, you've heard of it, right, Jim?
I've heard of that
Yeah,
old
you've
Wii
seen it
business.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were like, how come it doesn't appeal to me? Well, if it appealed to you, then it would not appeal to the, 100 million people that bought one. You can't make something, I think, that pleases absolutely everybody. I hope I'm wrong about that, but at least on surface level, you can only put certain things out in front to represent what your console or game is about. And some people are going to love it, and some people are not. And with Mass Effect, everything that people say they love about Mass Effect is exactly what I don't like about Mass Effect. People are like, the world is so amazing. I'm like, it's amazingly not what I want. That is exactly the kind of world I don't want to go to ever. Those are the people I don't want to talk about. Those are the problems I don't want to have to deal with. I don't want to look at them. I don't want to be around. It's just not what I like. Exactly what they like about it is what I don't like about it. And likewise, when I play a game like Rhythm Heaven Fever, and people are like, how can you like that? I'm like, everything you hate about it is what I like about it. I like funny-looking cartoon character monkeys slapping five and weird Japanese songs and simple gameplay. So it's all a matter of taste. That's what I'm saying in a very long roundabout way. Does that make sense, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you basically did just say, I like things because you don't like things.
No, I did not. I said the
You
things
did.
that you like about them happen to be the things I don't like about them
No, I
if I
get,
don't like
no,
that.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, there's no thing that if it's any good, and Mass Effect, I will say right now, is very good at doing what it does. But if you say something and it has any meaning, some people are going to like it and some people won't. The only things that everyone likes a little bit are basically meaningless, like Phil Collins songs. Everyone likes them a little bit, right? But it's just kind of like
I like Phil Collins.
he's fine. But
He's also a really nice guy, but people hate him
exactly.
so much.
Do they really?
Yeah, people can't stand him.
I have no problem with him. He is just the mildest experience. He's white toast with a tiny bit of butter on it. He's Everybody Loves Raymond. He's fine. He's totally fine. But nobody, loves or hates that stuff because it's not saying a whole lot. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really dislike Mass Effect, and that's how I know it's a well-made game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Icy Frodo's got what I think is quite a nice question. What franchise should have its own kart spin-off?
Oh, huh. Sheesh, that's tough. I don't like most kart spin-offs. I like Mario Kart a little bit. Crash Team Racing was all right.
I really like the Crash Team Racing, to be fair.
Yeah, it is good. It's good. Mega Man Battle and Chase, I have that. It's not the worst. I don't really want any more kart racing games, though.
I want a Dynasty Warriors one, thanks. That'd be really good. Put hack and slash in it, make it like Road Rash. Fucking
That might
things.
You ever play Under the Skin? You ever play Under the Skin, Jim?
Under the Skin, that's not the Capcom
Mm-hmm.
with the alien.
Yep.
I've played it, yeah. Fucking hell, I've been trying to remember the name of that for ages.
I think that has a Resident Evil level in it that is great. It's like a cute, cel-shaded Resident Evil with the Nemesis and the zombies and everything, and Jill Valentine's in it.
Yeah.
Wish more people had played that. That kind of makes me want a Resident Evil kart racer. That could be good too.
That'd be quite good. I'd like to see a mashup, like a survival horror kart racer.
Yeah,
Like Pyramid Head in a cart, and didn't they have that, or was that a sports game where they had
That was
Pyramid
a
Head
sports
and an
game.
Amco thing? I'd like to see Pyramid Head in a cart next to the Tyrant or whatever.
Yeah.
Do a nice horror.
Dracula in there. Get
Yeah,
Dracula, the Scissor Man from Clock Tower. Let's make a full-on crossover, card crossover. That would be cute.
that'd be great.
Meh,
Uh,
meh.
Tommy wants to know what. I get this question a lot as well. What Dynasty Warrior should I start with if I want to get into it? Dynasty Warrior 7's pretty good. Warriors Orochi 3, though, is out in March, and it's looking like. I mean, aside from that weird non localization thing that Sumit brought up last week,
Oh yeah.
it does look like it could be fantastic from a gameplay perspective, but I'll have to wait and see. So I'd say hold on till I've given that a go and see what I think of that. But otherwise, Dynasty Warrior 7 is a decent looking introduction to it.
I should play it. I've only played those games in passing and always enjoyed them a little bit, but not enough to buy them at retail. You know that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you probably feel about like how would
Everything
you
you
feel
like.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, you like Pikmin though, right? No? Pikmin?
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah,
I
I
played the
figured.
first one like a tiny bit.
Second one's much better. You should check it out. Anyway, you just keep making sounds. I'm sorry.
Fail Tuna has a Valentine's one. What is the worst romance in any game you've played? And I can fucking answer that straight away. Heavy Rain. That
Oh yeah.
game was written by a man with the brain of a 2-year-old.
I haven't really played through Heavy Rain enough to speak to that, but it seemed everything about that game just seemed very wooden and forced. Interesting ideas, just failure in terms of any sort of evocative execution. But who knows? Like I said, I haven't played the whole thing. Maybe it turns great. When they mean worst, I wonder what he does. He mean like a romance that is a
He said
terrible.
literally bad or just stupid. So I think
Oh,
it means
okay,
just like a badly portrayed romance.
okay. That's tough for me to answer because I don't pay attention. I hate all of the romantic interactions in the Uncharted series because they just dreadfully annoy me, all of those people. Uh, but I know a lot of people think that's a finely crafted romance story, so there I go again, not liking things that other people like. You played Shenmue, right?
I actually haven't.
It's an important game for you to
I
play,
know
Jim.
it is. It's one that I know I need to play, but I actually haven't. I mean, I never had a Dreamcast back in the day, so I never really had an
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, that is tough. I wonder why they haven't re-released that on downloadable
Because
platforms
it's
yet.
Sega.
Yeah, those bastards. Well, it's it's the way video games used to be that I often long for, where they would try to represent a real human relationship and fail, but the way they failed is actually much more realistic than like a movie would ever do. Like Uncharted is the way we all wish our romantic conversations went, where we're all instantly thinking of these witty comments and feel confident and sexy all the time. But that's not actually how it is, even though it may seem realistic to people. It's not. Real romance is like Shenmue. I've talked about this on Podtoid before, where you're like this wooden, nervous, like uncomfortable in his own skin, unexpressive nerd, and you call up the girl you've known since you're in third grade, and you like slowly dial each dial on the rotary phone, and it rings and it rings, and finally it picks up, and you go, "Hi, is this Nozomi?" She goes, "Hi, Rio," and then he goes, "Hey, do you remember that time on the swing sets?" She goes, "Oh yeah, that was fun. Okay, goodbye." Goodbye. Just that was like every single conversation I had with a girl until like age 18, basically. That's real romance. It's the worst
That actually answers
romance.
VG Freak 1225's question about the most convincing and compelling romance in a game.
I totally related with those characters and they're like being trapped in their own shells and being unable to reach out to each other at all. That's how I was when I was a youth. I was uncomfortable around the girls, as I think a lot of us were. I didn't feel like I could really talk to them. So yeah, I love that game for all its failings.
Ah. Life Carrier says, do you play games on easy when doing a review? He said he saw a dev on Hard Reset Steam forums claiming that reviewers saying it was 4 hours long probably played it on easy. First of all, fuck that guy. I played Hard Reset on the normal default setting. I will play every game I get for review on the default setting because I labour on under the mentality that it wouldn't be called normal if it wasn't the normal way to play the game, you know? And if
Sure,
I'm going to review
absolutely.
something, I want the normal situation. So I try not to fiddle with it. I have set it down to easy in a few rare instances. One of them was a game called Quantum Theory, on which Tecmo Koei published, and was fucking dreadful. And I played through a lot of it on normal, and towards the end it just got so fucking retarded that I busted it down to easy and tried to get through it just for the love of God. And I said in the review, like, I busted this down to easy. That was the first time I've ever done it. I think I did it once more after that, but I can't remember which one it was. I probably said so in the review again, probably because it was just fucking ridiculous. But yeah, I always go for the normal, and especially when someone says, oh, you've got to play this game on hard, oh, you've got to play this game on easy in order to... Because they did that with Red Faction Guerrilla, I think they said, oh, you've got to put it on easy because that's the real normal, or you've got to play Assassin's Creed with this option unchecked and this option included and this removed and this tweaked, and I'm like, no, I will play it as it shipped.
Right.
In order to get the default experience. So that's what I do, and if I do bust it down to easy or whatever, it's usually for a good reason, and it'll be a reason that's mentioned in the review because there was a point to me doing it.
I'm with you with that on 100%. I just said that sentence in a terrible way, but I think you understood what I meant. Wow, why did I fail to talk all of a sudden? This is one of my worst failures ever. Remember Vanquish, Jim? You remember Vanquish, don't you?
How can I forget?
A lot of people said to me about Vanquish, well, I mean, unless you unlocked hard mode and played it on hard mode, you didn't really play the real game. And my response to that was, well, then they should have made hard mode the default mode and actually taught me that I have to play the game in a particular way through design choices. You know, just design choices are your way of educating the player on how to play your game. If they don't do that, they can't expect me to cherish their game only after I've already beaten it and unlocked the mode that actually makes it fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it. I like Vanquish. Don't get me wrong. I think it's
It was a
a
load of
near
shit.
miss. It's it's got.
It was near piss.
If Vanquish had done what Resident Evil 4 did and what Beautiful Joe did, which was force you to play it a certain way in order to survive, to use the actual gameplay gimmicks they came up with and new ideas and new hooks. If they forced you to utilize those, it's really a lot of fun when you play it the right way. But how are you supposed to know you're supposed to play it that
Do
way?
you know what else it should have done? Like those
that?
games?
Uh-huh.
Be good. Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it is a symbol of Platinum losing a little bit of what made Clover so wonderful, which was they came up with these great gameplay hooks, but they led you to use them. And I don't... Even Bayonetta, I ended up playing without using Witch Time very much, which is that game's hook. They just didn't make me feel like I needed to do it, so I just ended up doing combos and killing everything, and it felt quite flat a lot of the time. Anyway.
Matt Edward Cheese says, when a woman gives birth, it may stimulate areas that are rarely reached through regular penetrative sex. So what I'm asking is, orgasmic birth, is it paedophilia? Is it incest? Is it ethical? Lubrication makes for an easier birth, but does the act cross a line?
Oh, yeah. It is definitely not pedophilia to give birth to a baby. To put a baby back in, maybe pedophilia. But when to
have an orgasm while the baby's coming out because it stimulated something.
A lot of people do that.
That's not pedophilia.
No, because
what if you're masturbating while watching a woman giving birth and having an orgasm over the birth?
Oh,
is that pedophilia or not?
I don't think so.
What if you're her father?
Then it's bordering on incest, but not quite, because technically at that point, until the baby is out, it is part of the woman still. So you're just attracted to a pregnant woman who's, half unpregnant, as there's a human baby's head sticking out of her orifice. But that's still technically attracted to the woman. That's the sex object, or the sex subject, the object of desire, I should say, and not the baby. Serious answer to a serious question.
Just a quick follow-up. A guy who says, the Muad says, not so much of a question, but I came to this website late last year. I was escaping the wasteland that is Kotaku, and Destructoid became my pedo-filled oasis. So thank you all for that.
That's awfully touching. Yeah.
Thank you for coming to us. It's, I think my opinions on Gorka as a business are well known, so I'm glad that we've been a nice little haven for you.
It's pretty interesting to me that people, I don't know, how can I say this without sounding conceited, but I feel like the differences between Destructoid and Kotaku are so well established, and for people to be like, I was at Kotaku for years, and then suddenly I started liking Destructoid more. I'm always kind of surprised it took them that long. And vice versa, when people read Destructoid for years and are like, I hate this, I found Kotaku where things are milder and have more non-game related news. This is what I want. I'm always surprised it took them that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to me. Yeah.
I like you, Jonathan.
I like you too, Jim. I think we're friends. Yeah, in my mind, we are friends.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I think we should wrap it up.
Okay, I'll do it.
I'm already too late to go to the post office, I think. Oh, well.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's
I'm
right.
typing embed code suddenly. Gotta post this thing. Yeah. So, how do you want to close it up this time, Jim?
Thanks for listening to the show, listeners. I hope you enjoyed it while we were just sitting back and chatting about days past and days to look forward to. Coming up next, Oreo Speedwagon. Sorry, I thought I was a late night DJ again. Ladies and gentlemen, what? Oh God.
Do you know who Peter Allen Boucher is?
I've heard the name.
Look him up.
Okay.
Okay, that's all.
Ah.
Yeah.
I like you, Jonathan.
I like you too, Jim. We are legit Jeez, I don't hang around with very many people for a few hours a week. It really is a way to make a friend to be on a podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels good. Yeah. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to Podtoid. I'm your host, Jim Sterling. I've been joined by Jonathan Holmes.
That's me.
That's
Hi.
you. Hello. You can catch him on Distracted.com. He's got a review of Rhythm Heaven Fever up right now. He also has Sup Homes, which is a live broadcast every Sunday. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Every Sunday at 1 p.m. on Destructoid.com. 1 p.m., Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find it on Destructoid.com on the front page. It's also on twitch.tv/Destructoid, which is our Twitch TV channel. Then we post highlights throughout the week. I actually have to post one of the highlights tonight. I also went to the Rhythm Heaven Fever launch party. It was great. A lot of Destructoid readers actually found their way into the video in the background and sometimes the foreground. And I'm about to post that right now as soon as we're done with this podcast. So look for that on Destructoid as well. It was shot by my friend Lindsay, and it was edited by my friend Toby. I've never done video with either of them before, so it's different from my other videos in terms of style. But I think it's pretty good, and please give them a watch because they're just getting used to making videos like this. So support them in their growth. Thank you.
Awesome. Myself and Dale North have done a shitload of reviews for the PS Vita and other features. Just go on Destructoid.com and look those up. We've got a top story box with a lot of them in. We did really good PS Vita coverage, I think. I think we did really well, so check that out. You can also see me every Monday morning at escapistmagazine.com with a show called The Jimquisition. Please do. I mean, I can actually pay off my exorbitant taxes thanks to the money I made from Jimquisition. It's all got to go on it. Everything I made on the Jimquisition has to go on my fucking taxes, but I can pay my taxes without becoming a prostitute again. So that's good. So please do support that, and thank you very much for watching those shows, because it really does help me out in many ways. As does just listening to Podtoid and spreading the word out about us, reviewing us on iTunes, downloading the app from Amazon, which is, it's a mobile app, and you just get the episode sort of straight away on your phone if you want. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening, and hopefully we'll see you next week if we're not dead by then.
Good show, Jim. I enjoyed it.
It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fun.
Fuck.